So hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to Quantsapp. Welcome to yet another Wednesday webinar. So today what we will learn about options breakout. How can we go ahead and identify such breakouts? And most important of all, we will learn how can we sharpen these breakouts. Okay, so we will learn about a concept called as options trap, how and why options traps are created, and how can we go ahead and easily spot this using options open interest data. So by the way, we have done a lot of webinars back to back in Hindi. So in today's session, we will discuss in English itself, wherein we will try to keep it in English and I will try to summarize it at a bit in Hindi as well. यानी कि मोस्टली मेजॉरिटी ऑफ जो पार्ट होगा वो इंग्लिश में कवर करेंगे हम एंड कुछ कुछ चीजें ऐसी होगी जिसको मैं समराइज कर दूंगा हिंदी में. So thanks a lot again everybody for joining and good evening again everyone. So what we will learn today is, so first we will learn to identify how looking at options open interest data, we can easily identify where the key level for my stock is or for my indexes. So whatever I'm trading, let's say if I'm trading Reliance, if I'm trading Nifty, if I'm trading Banknifty, how looking at the options open interest data, I can figure out or I can say that, okay, this is the level till on the upside, the stock can go till here, or this is the level which might act like my support. Okay, so basically resistance and support, how can we easily figure out looking at options open interest data is something that we will learn first. Then we will learn how can we go ahead and identify the traps which might happen in the market because of the highest call and put strikes. And then later on, we will learn to pick some trades and we will also learn how can we go ahead and sharpen these trades. So to start off with, let's say, so let me just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Yes. And okay, so how we can go ahead and do it is very easy. So let's say whichever stock I'm trading, as long as it is liquid. So wherever I see huge call writings happening, wherever I see highest call open interest, that will act like my resistance. So what is highest call? Wherever I see the maximum call writer standing, that will act like my resistance. So whenever we talk about options open interest data, it is not the case wherein there is only buyer, there is no seller in options open interest data. No, for every buyer, there has to be a seller standing. So let's say open interest. So even in options open interest, there is buyer plus seller. Okay, that means someone is buying that option contract and someone is selling that option contract. But the person who is selling it, he is taking undefined risk. Number one. Number two, he knows that his profit would be limited profit. He brings in heavy margin in the market. So that is the reason option open interest has been looked from writer's perspective, from a seller's perspective. Reason is very simple. Someone who is buying it may not take a very calculated risk over here. Okay. Why? Because he has very little amount to lose. And if his trade works out, he might end up winning a very big chunk. So that is the reason whenever we are looking at the options open interest data, we will look at it from the writer's perspective. Okay, it is not the case that there are only writers or only buyers in open interest. If open interest has went up, that means there are fresh number of buyers who are participating and there are fresh number of sellers who are selling it. Okay, so for every buyer, there has to be a seller standing. For every seller, there has to be a buyer standing. However, because of the negative reward to risk the seller takes, we are looking at the options open interest data from writer's perspective. Simple story short, it's the case wherein when someone can lose a very big chunk at that strike, if the underlying goes against him, still he is writing it. He knows that his profit is very limited, still he is writing it. He knows he is going to pay a heavy margin, still he is writing it. So that sums it up that why he is writing, because he is expecting his move might pan out. He's expecting that the underlying might not surpass this level. So that is the reason. Wherever you see highest call open interest, let's say this is my instrument and this is where the highest call open interest is. So what is this? This is nothing but my resistance. Why resistance? Because maximum number of call writers have sold a strike in expectation that the underlying might not go above this level. So what is call seller's view? So whenever you are selling a call option, what is your view? Your view is bearish. Okay. Your view is bearish to neutral, right? That means you are not expecting an up move in the underlying. it goes down or it doesn't go down, that's completely different story. But at least you are expecting that the underlying may not go up from the current level. Now comes the case of the put option. So put option, it would be completely opposite. So let's say a lot of puts have written at this strike. So why people are writing put options at this strike? Because they are expecting that the instrument might take support from here. So whenever you are selling a put option, what is your view? Your view is bullish to neutral. That means you are expecting that there might not be any fall in the instrument. Okay, that is what your expectation is. It may go up, it may not go up. That is not your concern. But what is your concern? The concern is that the instrument that you are trading, the instrument in which you are writing the put option, it may not go down from the current level. So this is nothing but you can call it floor. Okay. In markets language, you can call it the support. Okay. And this is nothing but the roof. In markets language, you can call it resistance. Okay. So I hope these things are very clear and these things are very simple. I just wanted to repeat if just in case someone has recently joined options trading. Most of these things people already know it, but just in case. So now, what is my trade? So first things first, if you just look at these levels, you'll come to know what is the range of the stock. So now what is the range of the stock? The range of the stock is that it may go down till this level or it may go up till this level. So this is the range of the stock that you can evaluate. So first thing about learning this data is that you will come to know the range about the stock. So let me just share my screen now. Okay. So now you can do this using the option chain tool in the application. So you can use the search panel and you can search for option chain. You will find the analytic over here. By the way, you can also access the application. The link would be there in the description box below, and also it will pop up out here in the icon. So anyways, if you just see, and this is Nifty. So on the left hand side, you are getting to see call open interest, and on the right hand side, you are getting to see the put open interest. So the best part is you don't need to look at any numbers. आपको number नहीं देखना है. You don't need to see, okay, on this strike, there is 26 lakhs. On this strike, it is 87 lakh. On this strike, it is 83 lakhs. Right? See, you don't need to see the numbers. Instead, if you just see the strike price, which has 26 lakh open interest, it is highlighted a bit smaller. But the strike price, which has 87 lakhs open interest, it is highlighted a bit bigger. So bigger the strike price, or bigger, I would say, the bar over here, more the open interest, smaller the bar, less the open interest. So now visually you can easily identify that, okay, this is the resistance and this is the support. What you need to do, simple. Wherever you see the highest call or biggest green bar getting formed, identify that as resistance. And wherever you see the biggest put, the highest red color, the biggest red color bar, that is your support. So let's do this exercise for a few stocks. So NMDC. So what is NMDC's highest call? So it is exactly where the highest call is right now. So NMDC's highest call is 110 and the highest put is 105. So what does it tell me? It tells me one thing, that this is where my resistance is, which is 110. And this is where my support is, which is 105. So let me just see. Yeah, this is where my support is. So easily looking at this data, we can identify the support and the resistance level for all the F&O instruments. So let's do this exercise till we get a bit a bit used to it. So NTPC 180 is the highest call, where the highest put is 170. So that is my support. However, where the immediate put strike is, immediate big put strike is, it is 175. So the major support is here, which is at 170. So this is my major support. This is my immediate support. Sometimes there would be something like this, scenarios like this, wherein there are two heaviest put strikes. So over here, if you see, 170 put also has significant open interest and 175 put also has significant open interest. So whichever is bigger, that will act like the major support, and whichever is smaller relatively will act like the immediate support. So what is the major resistance for NTPC? What I can make out is 180 call is the major resistance for NTPC. So that's that. So you can keep on switching it. I'll come to the trade. What is your trade? I just want to make sure that all of us get hang about this data, get used to this data. So PL, if you see, not very, very liquid, but if you just see persistent, this was the highest call. The call writers have started to unwind, but illiquids, I'm not interested in this. 220, okay. So 200, this is where the resistance is of PFC. So a very brilliant move in PFC. So we had analyzed PFC back then, wherein this move was about to take place, and we had actually picked it up and we had actually analyzed it in the past, recently only. Wherein what happened was, so I'll just try to explain you the scenario, what happened, and this is what our trade is. I'll just explain first. So let's say this, what happened is that PFC started to trade above the highest call open interest strike price. And if I'm not wrong, the highest call open interest was at 180 call. What happened is the movement PFC sustained above the highest call. All these call writers panicked, and then we saw a very good up move in PFC. So now why this things happen? So this happens because, let's say we have sold this strike price. Let's say we have sold this strike price. Assume that we have got 5 rupees premium from here. So what is the maximum I can earn? 5 rupees, which is very unrealistic. You can't earn the entire premium that you have sold, but still, what is the maximum that you can make from this trade? The maximum you can make is 5 rupees if you have sold this call. Now, let's say the underlying goes something like this, somewhere over here. And this option, the 5 rupees option, has turned to, let's say, 10 rupees. Now what has happened? You have been stopped out from the trade. Your SL has been hit. So now what you can see is, are you the only one person who is trading this strike price? No. Most of the market has created the same trade, which is they have went ahead and sold the strike price of 180. Correct? So that means if your stop loss is triggered, someone else's stop loss also is triggered, right? So now what happens is, when scenarios like this come up, participants start to worry. There happens to be a panic in minds of call writers. Whosoever has sold this call, he is fearing that his option premium has already doubled. It might go to 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, God knows. So he has left with only one option in this scenario. Whenever something like this happens, एक ही option बचता है, which is exit. It is called as nothing but short covering. I'll explain you the trade, but I'm trying to explain you why all these things happen. But exit is the only scenario what is left with most of participants whenever something like this happens. What is happening? The instrument is trading above the highest call open interest strike price. And most of them, they have started to witness a panic. They have started to panic over here. So what will they do? They will cover their sold call. The sold call hai, the call option which they have sold, they will cover it. And which will eventually weaken this resistance. Ye sara jo resistance hai, it will get weak. So what will happen? Most of the call writers, they will start to unwind. And this entire piece that you are seeing, this entire stiff resistance that you are seeing, it will get weak, and eventually the instrument will trade upwards. It will start to sustain higher, and it will give a good breakout, a very strong breakout. Okay. So now what is my trade? So let me just take you to this PFC scenario only. I hadn't actually had in mind, but let me just show you. So this is trade recap. I am taking you on a past date to show you how the open interest data, how the options data actually looked like in PFC. So 31st was the day. Yes, I guess 31st was the day. I actually don't remember because, yes, it was 31st of April or 31st of May, sorry. So if you just see, this is trying to show us the data of 31st of May at this point, at 9:15. This is what was happening with PFC. So if you see 182.3 is price of PFC, which is above the highest call. Where the highest call is? The highest call is at 180. So majority of the people, they have sold at 180 strike price call option. And what has happened? The instrument has given a breakout, and these call writers, the entire people who have sold it, all those people who are selling that call option, they are failed, and they have failed horribly, right? Because it is the beginning of the expiry and they have failed immediately. So what is the best option in that scenario? The best option is to exit. And see, if I just show you the options open interest data placement, see. So this is again the data of this day, which is of 31st of May at 9:15. This is how it looked. So the green color bar is showing us call open interest. The red color bar is showing us put open interest. Now, if I just show you this tip, this is showing us hollow. This is showing us nothing but unwinding. All these call writers who had sold this strike, they exited. Why they exited? They exited in panic because they expected an up move to happen in the instrument. And where is PFC now? PFC right now, if we had just saw it, right? So kaha tha PFC? So PFC has closed higher. So let me just show you the price of PFC. Sorry. Chart. Oh, sorry. Chart order and trade. So this is PFC. So it is at 197. 182 wala PFC. Where it has went? It has went to 197, which is a very huge jump, right, in PFC. So the trade out here is very, very simple. What we need to do? We need to just catch something like this. What we are trying to catch? Number one, the instrument is trading above the highest call. That is the first case that we want. Second thing that we want is call writers to unwind. Call OI to be minus. That's the only thing I want. And that is how simply we can identify such opportunities for trading a breakout. Okay, there would be a big movement happening in the underlying because most of the option writers are getting trapped at this scenario. Why most of the call writers are getting trapped? Because this entire thing, all these call writers who have sold, the instrument has went against them. And in the market, whenever majority of the people feel, there happens to be a big move. So that is the reason this breakout scenario works very, very well. Only two things we need to find. First thing is, which are the stocks which are trading above the highest call. Second thing that we need to find is where are the call writers leaving it. Why we are finding this thing? Because I also want to see that most of the people, they are worried about the up move which might happen in the instrument. If they are not worried, then I am not interested in that stock. If I don't see a unwinding happening on the call strike, I am not really interested over there. Where I am interested? Only when both of these things pass my test. Okay. So that is my trade. We can go ahead and easily find out using options open interest data. But if you just see, this is one of the most perfect scenarios, which is PFC. Huge call writers were standing at this price. The movement stock sustained above it. All these call writers, they made an exit, and there happened to be a very big move in the underlying. Today also one example I tracked, which was Tata Steel. Tata Steel, and I guess there was Glenmark, which was on my radar list in the morning, which I'll try to show. I took a screenshot as well in the morning. Tata Steel. So see, मतलब पूरा खाली हो गया है. See, this is what I want. Now, is this the case that ये पूरा चीज एक झटका में खाली हुआ? नहीं. It happens slowly and steadily. I'll show you today's data itself. So see, so let's say Tata Steel. So let me just clear all the drawings, and let's say Tata Steel and 29 June. See, so there is no movement happening whatsoever in Tata Steel. There is a breakout. What was the price here? 110.5. The breakout sustained 110.7. 110.8, which is by the very big move above the highest call strike. Now what happened at the same time? The call open interest unwinded. So let me just open one more graph. Okay, you don't need to do constantly monitor these things. Only the thing is, while initiating a trade, the only two things you need to search is instrument above the highest call and where the open interest is unwinding. Charts order entry. And it is 110 call. So I'm just hiding this for now. In fact, let's add OI. You see, this is what I was talking about. Just look at this. Okay, forget about this for now. So let me just close it instead. So now it's very easy, right? The moment it gave a breakout about the highest call, that is the time when all the call writers, they started to panic. They started to fear and they exited. From 3 rupees, the option went up to 4 rupees. That is 1 rupee move in Tata Steel's option. And by the way, Tata Steel's lot size is 5,500. So that is a very big move when you talk about option premium move. And also, if you just see the underlying all the way from 110.7, it went to 112. So very big move. Got in Tata Steel, looking at simple analytic, nothing complex. Just this is the logic that we are trying to trade, where the stock is trading above the highest call and open interest is unwinding. Now we will learn to sharpen the trade. How can we go ahead and add an edge while we are actually trading it in the market? Okay, and how can we go ahead and find these things? So any doubt, queries, questions, just post me out in the chat box. So I'll just go through your queries. So meanwhile I'll summarize it in Hindi. तो क्या हमने समझा? हमने ये समझा कि कोई भी एक स्टॉक का रेजिस्टेंस और सपोर्ट कैसे देख सकते हैं हम ऑप्शंस डेटा के थ्रू. हाईएस्ट कॉल हमारे लिए रेजिस्टेंस की तरह काम करेगा एंड हाईएस्ट पुट हमारे लिए सपोर्ट की तरह काम करेगा. अभी ये ट्रेड इतना बढ़िया क्यों काम करता है? वो इसीलिए काम करता है क्योंकि बाजार में पूरा लोग ने सेम ट्रेड लिया. क्या ट्रेड लिया है कि एक जगह पर जाकर कॉल बेच दिया. तो जब भी उनके अगेंस्ट ये मूव जाता है, देन वो जब फेल होंगे तब अंडरलाइन में एक बड़ा मूव आएगा. सो दैट इज द रीजन वी आर मोर इंटरेस्टेड इन दिस ट्रेड. अभी इसमें ट्रेड कैसे करेंगे? सिंपल, ऐसा स्टॉक ढूंढना है कहां पर हाईएस्ट कॉल के जो ऊपर है एंड वहां से कॉल राइटर्स निकल रहे हैं. तो हमने पीएफसी का एग्जांपल देखा, 180 हाईएस्ट कॉल था, 182 पीएफसी का भाव था. तो आज सारे कॉल राइटर्स ट्रैप हो गए. पीएफसी 182 वाला 197 पर देखा हमने. टाटा स्टील आज हाईएस्ट कॉल 110 पर था, 110 के ऊपर ब्रेकआउट कर गया, सस्टेन किया ऊपर. साथ साथ क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर अंडर ऑप्शंस में कॉल ओपन इंटरेस्ट देखिए गिर रहा है. ऑप्शन 3 रुपया वाला ऑप्शन टॉप बनाया 4 रुपया में, विच इज अ वेरी बिग मूव इन ऑप्शन. टाटा स्टील कहां से कहां पहुंच गया? 110.7 वाला टाटा स्टील 112.54 हो गया, राइट, विच इज अ वेरी बिग मूव अगेन इन टाटा स्टील. सो कुछ डाउट, क्वेरी, क्वेश्चन हो तो आप पोस्ट कर सकते हैं इन द चैट बॉक्स. नाउ हम ये देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से इसे शार्पन किया जाए. स्पीक इन हिंदी ऑल्सो. सो हमने पिछला कुछ वेबिनार हिंदी में ही किया था एंड वी गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ रिक्वेस्ट. सो दैट इज द रीजन वी आर डूइंग इट इन इंग्लिश. नेक्स्ट वेबिनार पक्का वी विल डू इट इन हिंदी. ठीक है. Option data will be manipulated. Do you really think about that? Is it that easy? Nifty maybe same scenario happen. If I just show you Nifty. Manipulation will not happen to all the stocks. But anyways, see, this is the thing I was talking about. If you just see the data yesterday or maybe day before, so let's just try trade recap. Even I don't know what will be the outcome, but let's just try together. So trade recap. So I'm trying to show you something in Nifty or Banknifty if we get something, because I don't know. इंट्राडे एंट्री में बता रहा हूँ, एक सेकंड बस. सो ये देखिएगा आप लोग, सो ये ओपन इंटरेस्ट है, सो ये रहा, ये हाईएस्ट कॉल पर खड़ा है निफ्टी कल कुछ अराउंड 5:15 को। भी आज के दिन में क्या हुआ हमको ये देखना है, 18,600 का जो कल का भाव था 18,600 और ये हाईएस्ट कॉल के ऊपर है। मैं यहाँ पर आपको क्यों लेके आया हूँ, व्हाई आई हैव ब्रॉट यू हियर इज जस्ट टू शो वेयर द हाईएस्ट कॉल एंड हाउ द डेटा इज प्लेस्ड। ठीक है, नाउ व्हाट आई वांट टू सी दैट ओके निफ्टी इज अबाउट द हाईएस्ट कॉल। नाउ व्हाट आई वांट इज when the call writers will unwind. Right now, what I can see, the open interest is getting added. So maybe a thrust in Nifty. So not very convinced. But the moment I see that these call writers are unwinding, that is where my trade is. So let's see Nifty 18,600 call of 8 June expiry. Nifty 8 June expiry 18,600 ka call option. And only thing I want to monitor is the open interest, how the open interest of that strike is behaving. So if I just show you, so if you see from 3:15 onwards or 3 p.m. onwards itself, there was a very drastic downfall which happened in the call strike. If you see the open interest, it is dropping. Just look at the curve, and eventually if you see the curve kept on dropping throughout the day. Now what does that tell you? That all these call writers who have sold it 18,600, they are getting trapped, they are getting panicked. And you might not be able to see the curve. Now you can see it, right? So see the drastic downfall in the curve, right? So it will work in Nifty and Banknifty both. As long as the instrument is liquid, it will not create a big problem. Okay, so let me just see. Okay, entry कब ले रुकी है? Okay. इस हिंदी में मैंने सेम किया हुआ है, एंड दिस बिकॉज पिछले 6-7 वेबिनार वी हैव डन इट इन हिंदी, ये वाला वी विल डू इट इन इंग्लिश. हाउ टू मेक एंट्री इंट्राडे, हाँ बता रहा हूँ. Sometimes getting struck at the highest call or put strike, हाँ ये प्रॉब्लम आता है, तो इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ हाईएस्ट कॉल के ऊपर सस्टेन होने का वेट करके हमको ओआई अनवाइंडिंग देखना है. ये दो चीजें देखना पड़ेगा हमको, ठीक है. जबरदस्ती ट्रेड बनाएंगे तो नहीं होगा. So this is example of Nifty or Bank Nifty. The screen is at open interest page. So my screen is visible, right? Okay. So now you can see it is visible. So let me just keep it on screen itself. Once price sustain, where will it stop? So कहाँ रुकेगा उसका तो मतलब try to use some other indicators or just look at the next heaviest call, where the next heaviest call is. Most probably that is where the instrument might stop. Show the screen of curve. Huh? So I actually couldn't share मैंने सही से नहीं किया. Nothing fishy, I just shared some different screen. You should show the screen. Yes, I'm showing you. So don't we get any notification for this? No, as of now, no, Deepakji, you won't get any notification for this. You need to manually scan it. How I'll tell you. Okay, so this is the trade, and this is about Nifty. So this is 18,600 strike price call option. So see a drastic curve drop in the open interest, and you see the premium, right? 74 wala premium double ho gaya paisa. So if you think that the 70 should go to 700 and that is how you are trying to make money, then it won't happen every day. Do it in split screen of Q&A. Okay, fair enough. So that's that. So now it's very simple. So someone said about Tata Steel as Tata Motors as well. So let me just try to pull out Tata Motors. So instead, why don't I do it this way? टाटा मोटर्स, yes, टाटा मोटर्स ये मैंने ट्रेड आज ढूंढा था सुबह सुबह. I actually had scanned this. Tata Motors was on my radar list. In fact, this is where Tata Motor was in the morning, 5:50 के आसपास, and from there it has jumped up drastically. So let's see where Tata Motors was in the morning. Just for everybody, I know what has happened in Tata Motors. I just want to explain it to you all. मुझे भी आप लोगों को भी बताना है. ठीक है, तो ये कॉल नहीं है, ये फ्यूचर है, तो डोंट कंफ्यूज योरसेल्फ विद ओवर. So see Tata Motors where it was yesterday, it was above the highest call itself, 557. Then again there was a breakout and काफी जोरदार मूव आया Tata Motors में. क्यों जोरदार मूव आया? Just look at this. The reason is nothing but this huge unwinding on call side, which led to a very good up move in Tata Motors. ठीक है, Tata Motors 29 June 23, 550 call. This was on my radar list. I will show you screenshot as well after I explain you triggers. And see the drastic drop in OI. So, which is okay. So this is what we need to do. 19 वाला premium 33 हो गया, 32, 32.5 हो गया, which is very good. ठीक है, so चलो anyways, now let me just explain you quickly how can we sharpen this entire thing. If I want to eventually, let's say if I want to take a trade on Tata Steel, how can I go ahead and do about it? First thing is, I will filter out few stocks and I will keep my radar list ready for the next day. Okay, how I will do it? Will I go to the open interest tool and do it one by one? Maybe I can do it. So let's say we have Tata Power randomly on our radar list. The movement is sustains above it. That is where I'm interested in, not right now because it is still below the highest call. What I want it to sustain above the highest call and open interest of call should still unwind. That is my first case. That is my first list, what I will look out to trade. Now the scenario is that I have Tata Power on my radar list, or I have Tata Steel or Tata Motors or whatever the stock is, whichever are trading above the highest call and where the call writers are unwinding. I have those on my radar list. How can I create a trade? What I do is simple. I will wait for yesterday's high to get clear, and that is where one of the entry points get activated. That I will combine the options open interest data along with price action. What does price action tell me? Price action tells me now this is where the resistance is. Even if I want to enter, only if this high is broken, I will enter. So simple, highest call breakout plus yesterday's high getting taken out. That is one of the entries. You can sharpen the entries using order book data as well. How can you do it? If you just see huge buyer initiated quantity at this point, which is telling you that there are aggressive buyers who are buying it on the ask price. What is buyer initiated quantity and seller initiated quantity? It is trying to show you how many buyers have bought it at the ask price. That is what the buyer initiated quantity is telling you. Seller initiated quantity is telling you how much sellers have sold it on the pit. So simple. One of the ways is what I do. I look at the previous highs. I just identify where the previous highs were typically instrument faced and resistance. So what I can make out is this is where instrument picked the resistance. Now the moment that resistance is taken out, that is where my entry point would be. Similarly, the case with Tata Steel. So Tata Steel. So let's say this. So Tata Steel, more or less, what I can see is this is where the resistance is. You can plot a daily chart as well. That is all right. But this is where 10.5 is where my resistance is. Now the moment it is taking out 10.5, that is where my trade will get activated. No complex analysis done. Two data points, highest call के ऊपर OI unwinding plus the previous highs. Wherever you see instrument taking resistance, उसके ऊपर निकल जाता है. That is where my trigger will get activated. Now the thing is, you can also look at this, the buyer initiated quantity. If you see huge jump in buyer initiated quantity, again that is one of the times when your trade will get triggered. So there would be various ways to optimize the entries and exit levels. That is also okay. You can do something on your own as well. That is also completely fine. I'm trying to share you what I do manually. So these are the simple things what I follow and what I do to scan a very clean breakout happening in the market looking at the options open interest data. Now the biggest question, there are over 200 F&O scripts. How can we keep on scanning one by one, right? So let's say TCS, but it is below the highest call, may not make sense for me. Tech Mahindra, the highest call is very far away, so not really a trade. Titan, yes, very brilliantly caught by someone, highest call ke upar and call writers unwinding. But the thing is, there would be so many F&O scripts. How can I go ahead and identify 1111 stocks at one time? Because I'll get fed up, right, to scan all the 200 F&O scripts. So for that, we have a very simple analytic, which is named as triggers. So to trade this entire thing, you will always need where are the stocks or which are the stocks where this setup is getting created. So triggers will help us finding those out. Very simple tool. So what it is trying to tell you, on what strike the highest call open interest is, and on what strike the highest put open interest is. How much open interest is there on the highest call and how much the open interest is changing from the highest call or put strike. Left hand side calls, right hand side puts. Now here it comes. Here comes the call difference and put difference. What is call difference? Let's say ACC's highest call is at 1900 and ACC's futures price is 1862. The call difference is 2%. Now, what is it trying to tell you? It is trying to tell you that ACC's futures price is 2% away from the highest call. How far your stock is from the resistance, it is shown to you by call difference. आपका stock highest call से कितना दूर है वो call difference बता रहा है. It is nothing but just the difference between the highest call and the future price. Lower the difference, closer it is. Higher the difference, far off it is. So simple. Now, if I just want to identify the stocks closer to the highest call, what I'll do, I'll simply click on the arrow besides call difference and I'll just identify that. So now there are few stocks where the call difference is negative. What does that indicate? That indicates that the stock is already above the highest. So what I want all those stocks which are above the highest call. So something like, let's say, this one, Balrampur Chini, right? Then we have a lot of stocks on our radar list. So let me just clear all these things now. So we have Deepak Nitride, IndusInd Bank, Indigo, Zeal. So a lot of stocks. So let me just show you Tata Steel. So see, even if you have searched for Tata Steel in the market hours, still you would have got Tata Steel on our radar list. Still you would have known that the open interest of Tata Steel is unwinding, and still you would have been able to catch a good up move in Tata Steel. Simple. Call difference from minus 1.5% to positive 1% is something what you will target, and just look at where the open interest is unwinding. That's it. Okay. So triggers is the analytic from where you can easily identify such moves. Matlab, you can pick up the moves basically. Simple. All you need to do is just open triggers, look at the call difference, and just see where the call difference is negative and where the where the open interest is unwinding. Okay, and then obviously the sharpening techniques, what I told you, that you can do it on your own. You can use the techniques what I told you. You can also implement some of yours. That's okay, right? My idea is that if you have any opportunity, try to sharpen it a bit more and you will be good to go. So let me just pause this. Yeah, your questions are welcome. You can just post it out in the chat box. I'll try to reply and I'll just try to share once again. Let me just do this and do this. Yeah. So I have pulled out an image what I clicked in the morning. Okay, so this is morning ka data, bazaar khulne ke pehle ka data hai, when I was trying to analyze. So this is how it looked like. So what is on my radar list looking at this? Tata Motors is clearly on my radar list. Then IndusInd Bank is one of the stocks where what is on my radar list. Divi's Lab, all these stocks are on my radar list. Now I'm not getting to see change in OI. Why? Because I looked at it in the morning. So at that time, the data resets to 0. But I knew that Tata Motors open interest was unwinding, and this was the stock which was on my radar list. When there was a trade, the trade was when the yesterday's high was taken out, and that is how easily you can pick up instruments for your trading. So to quickly summarize what we need to do: open triggers, identify all those stocks which are above the highest call, looking at the negative call difference, and see open interest where the open interest is unwinding. Now just sharpen the trades, looking at some price action such as yesterday's high getting broken, or any indicator that you might use to sharpen something like buyer initiative quantity, and that will keep you well placed in trading breakouts. To manage these things, to put a stop loss, use a moving average, or you can use a moving average or pivot, something like that. So the idea is that there are many ways to alternate this, to sharpen this technique a bit more. But the scanning part, it's very simple: triggers, call difference negative, open interest unwinding for a tezi wala trade, for a mandi wala trade, for a negative side trade, put difference negative, put OI unwinding. That's it. Can you backtest? Why should I backtest? I showed you right now. Tata Motors, this is where the 550 call was. And I clearly know that the open interest is unwinding. So what's the point of backtesting this? The backtesting is on our screen right now. Okay, so yes, I'll just go through your queries, but I would say that was it from my side for today's webinar. So do check out link in the description box below, also the iCard, and access the most powerful analytic for options trading. So I'll just go through your query. So please continue session. Don't answer queries. Okay, bro. Material is good. Screen. So I just explain later on once again. Video subscription is costly because the analytics that you're seeing, so those come at a cost, right? And these are the most advanced analytics in the entire industry. So कितना time wait करने का for sustain? So ऐसा कुछ specific नहीं है. The moment it starts to sustain, and the moment price action gives a confirmation, that is the right time. And the question, so I use it for this one. For index, 1 minute is something what I use for order book, and for stocks, 5 minutes. A positional call is, yes, you can take based on this data, but yes, you can do it, but then you need to look at some more data points such as historical build-ups. Even that is okay. You can do it. So what is advantage of concert time take data valid? Keep it generally intraday, or maybe 2 or 3 days, not more than that. What is advantage of taking next week expiry of same strike when fresh? Buying instead of short covering during a breakout. So I couldn't understand what is advantage of buying next week expiry. So nothing except the theta. The theta will be less in the next expiry, but the buying in current expiries benefit is that you will get better gamma effect. You will get much more bigger move in terms of percentage versus the next expiry. Does VIX rise with the underlying index on fresh buying like today? Yes, sometimes it may happen. Sometimes it may happen. In most of the cases, VIX, India VIX and Nifty, they will typically negatively correlated. In some of the cases, it may happen that is just the normal noise in the instrument, in the market. Is unwinding and OI cumulative? Yes, cumulative. आपका डेटा कितना डिले होता है? डिले होता है लाइव, इट्स रियल टाइम. Except back testing and 1 or 2 tools maximum, that those would be updating on end of the day basis or 5-minute basis, but 95% or even more than that, everything in the application is real time except back testing. How were you able to know? Because I had analyzed it. If I just see Tata Motors, मुझे दिख रहा है ना यहाँ पर, अगर मैं 7 तारीख को ये टाइम पर अगर मैं एनालाइज कर रहा हूँ, तो मुझे पीछे का डेटा मालूम है ना. I can come at charts and I know that what's happening. अगर मैं ओपन इंटरेस्ट में भी जाता हूँ, ऑप्शंस ओपन इंटरेस्ट में, still it will tell me ना that the open interest is unwinding. just save it. Just click on the save button and you will be able to save the charts. Which type I have to take a trade? ATM. Whatever the ATM is. What is buyer initiated or seller initiated? The quantities bought at the ask price by the buyers, and seller initiated is the quantities sold by the sellers on the bid price. You current trade based on the analysis. For scanning puts, negative put difference, OI unwinding. No screen. So I have shared my screen. It is more rewarding, but you need to keep stop losses tight. Because now if you see, ये जोर से move आया ना, the moves would be fast. Okay, but you can't expect a option writing strike rate in this. आप इसमें 80-90% strike rate नहीं expect कर सकते हैं. Is there a scanner for buyer or seller initiated trades? No, as of now. And I think with that, I have answered most of the queries. So just to quickly summarize, what I want is the stocks which are trading above the highest call and the open interest to unwind. Now, one last thing is, I don't want stocks which are very far away from the highest call. जैसे कि ICICI का highest call is at 1200 and it is trading at 1256. So I'm not concerned with these stocks a lot. ये स्टॉक्स में क्या हो रहा है वहां पर मुझे ज्यादा फर्क नहीं है. मुझे कहाँ फर्क पड़ रहा है 2% नेगेटिव से लेकर 1% पॉजिटिव के आसपास जो स्टॉक्स है एंड ओपन इंटरेस्ट जहां अनवाइंड हो रहा है, those are the stocks on my radar list. Okay, हर जगह जाकर ट्रेड नहीं बनाना है, but only the stocks which are on my radar list. -2% के आसपास से +1% के आसपास तक के स्टॉक एंड माइनस ओपन इंटरेस्ट डिफरेंस. ओपन इंटरेस्ट शुड बी नेगेटिव. ठीक है, ये पहला हो गया. दूसरा चीज, आई विल शार्पन दिस यूजिंग चार्ट्स or buyer initiated quantity, seller initiated quantity, whatever. I will use one more step to go ahead and refine this entire system. Now, when should this be done? You can do it in the market hours as well. You can be prepared for the next day as well. Whatever you feel like, however you are comfortable with. And with that, it brings me to the end of the session. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much for staying tuned along with me up till here. So do check out triggers tool in the application and start trading breakouts efficiently and start doing some paper trades in architect and all those things, right? So do check out triggers.